I want to plead with you to, having secured the treasure by faith, let the treasure then redeem your words. Here's a prayer that you and I could start every day with. It's the prayer of the psalmist in Psalm 19, verse 14, which says, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer." I love this prayer because it again links the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart. Because as we've seen from the words of Jesus, it is that meditation of my heart that's dictating my words. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. You need a rock in life. You need a sure, stable foundation in life. You need a rock, and you need a redeemer. Especially when it comes to our words, we need a redeemer. One who is going to so change us, so help us, so effectively live within us that the very words that we're speaking are redemptive words, are words that are pleasing in His sight and that are good for others. I remember a time in my life where the Lord was really working on my heart with these matters, speaking redemptive words, and in particular in parenting, the raising of our children. I was convicted that there's just so many words that I would speak that were not redemptive words, so many words that I would speak that were not helping lead them to Christ and to help them see their need for the gospel. I was reading this book where the author of the book was talking about the difference between law-based parenting and love-based parenting. And by that, what they were saying was law-based parenting is basically that which lays out the rules and says you live up to the rules or you suffer the consequences, the law, versus parenting that is primarily motivated by love, the love of God as seen in the gospel. So this author was talking about the difference between parenting that is law-based and love-based. Now, he wouldn't say that there's no law. He's not just saying there's no rules, just do whatever you want. But he was making the case that the primary motivation of your heart must not be a law-based parent, but a love-based parent who sees the life-changing power of the gospel when it's understood and received and lived. And this was really making sense to me. This was really helping me see what I was needing to do and redeeming my words as a parent. And I remember this one night, we were scheduled to go to a couple in our church for dinner that night. And we'd been to their house before. They had entertained us often, and the wife of this couple, she just showed, it was her way of showing love was making good meals for people. And I tell you what, when she would show her love that way, I was more than happy to receive it. And so I left my church office that afternoon to get home, thinking about this great meal that we were going to share together as a family. And so I come into the house, and we're probably getting close to running late. I come up to the bedroom where Deb's getting ready, and I said, "Well, how's it coming? How are the boys doing?" And she gave me a look that basically said, "Take a wild, crazy guess how the boys are doing." Their bedroom was right below. We had a split foyer, so that their bedroom was right below our bedroom, and I could kind of hear them tussling around down there, and so boom, 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 boom. I start marching across the house, and boom, 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 down the steps. And I want to tell you, what was about to come was a moment of parental law. I mean, pure and simple. Here's the rule, you're breaking the rule, and judgment is going to be swift and severe. But along the way, and this is what you'll find, that when you're starting to think about these things more, and you're starting to pray like the psalmist prayed, and you're really trying to give yourself to redeeming words, you'll see that the Spirit of God begins to remind you of the truth that God is teaching you. And as I was marching to that bedroom, I started to just think of how weak the law is in light of the grace and mercy of God. And I say this to the glory of God, because when I got to that bedroom and I opened up the door, squeaks as it opens, and right away, the tussling stops. Right away they look, and listen, I know what was in their minds. They are expecting one outpouring of parental law giving. It was coming. But in that moment, the Lord just helped me to say to them, hey, are we showing Carolyn love by showing up late tonight? Are we loving her? We know that she has been working most of the day to get this meal ready. Do we honor her by just showing up whenever? Are we loving her? But I'll never forget that moment in which the law of love landed heavy on their hearts. I tell you what, my law might have gotten a change in behavior, but nothing would have landed as heavy as the law of love in that moment. And listen, I'd like to tell you, that's how every instance of the Crawford household worked during the time of our parenting. It's not, but I tell you what, I did see over and over again that as by God's grace, I gave myself to redeeming kind of words, that it helped. It not only was a blessing to me, I'm not in shame again for what I said that I shouldn't have, but it was helping me find greater joy in pleasing God and in ministering His grace to others. So I want to encourage you this morning, pray like the psalmist prayed. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Let the treasure redeem your words. So let me give you these 5 ways to redeem your words. Number 1 is this: don't be overwhelmed by past failure. Let past failure be the fuel that drives you to the cross, to remind you not just of your need for the cross, but what Christ did for you at the cross. Let His grace and mercy abound and flow over you in precious grace. Don't be overwhelmed by past failure. All of us could stand where we are and give testimony that we are not perfect people, that we have said the wrong thing at the wrong time, in the wrong place, in the wrong way. But don't let that overwhelm you. Let it lead you to the cross and what Christ has done for you there. Number 2, consider your words. Give thought to your words. As you consider and think about your words, are your words more encouraging or discouraging? Are your words thoughtful or impulsive? Are your words constructive or destructive? Are your words hopeful and redemptive, or did they lead to greater frustration and stir up conflict? Consider your words. Like I said, I saw in my life that when I was giving more time to actually think about my words, the Lord was working to help me speak redemptively. So consider your words. Number 3, evaluate the roots, not just the fruits of your communication. Remember, the fruit just identifies the root. So ask, what is my goal in the words that I speak? What am I trying to accomplish? What do I hope to get from these words that I speak? What's really the treasure of my heart in this moment? Number 4, seek forgiveness when you fail and be quick to forgive others when they fail. Seek forgiveness. Again, we need the gospel when it comes to the words that we speak. And number 5, ask God for grace to help in your time of need. Just as the psalmist prayed, dear God, Would you help so that the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart would be pleasing in your sight? O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Ask God for grace to help in your time of need, because words matter. Brother, sister, words matter.